but shift 30 votes and make that a project for the 4th of July recess, because this stuff has got to end somewhere, right? If the U.S. is simply just on this rampage through the world, right, eventually you're going to collide with some large thing that resists and can defend itself, be it Russia or China or Iran or whatever it is. So the quicker we end this stuff, the better it is. And the political calculation is that, 180 votes in the House to cut off money for a war in the middle of the war, that's unprecedented. That's the best result of that kind that I've seen in my lifetime. They can't say that you're cutting off the money to the troops in harm's way, because Obama has guaranteed that there are no troops in harm's way. Well, there really are, but we'll take him at his word. There are no troops in harm's way, so there's no political price to be paid for cutting off the funding. So cut off the funding. Dear Congressman, cut off the funding, and if Obama persists, the one thing that the House can do, if he just says, I'm just going to ignore you and keep spending, because I can stop this in the Senate, well, what the House can do is impeach him. So impeach him.
I appreciate your call, caller. If you got any other comments, I'd like to hear them before we go to Keith. But look, this is how the psychology works, especially with a country like the United States that has taken on preemptive war as part of our macho identity. I mean, it's the opposite of what this country was founded on. But once we're committed, and once the U.S. troops start dying, the social engineers know the opposite's going to happen. There isn't going to be more calls for pulling out. It's going to suddenly be, we've got to hang that guy Gaddafi, and then they'll say that they're, raping Easter bunnies with elves, attending, and that sea serpents were seen involved with it, So they'll make up some ridiculous story of baby incubators, Santa Claus, things like that. And that's why they want to go ahead and just get in place, get it ready, get the intel, move the troops in and say this is not a war. He killed our humanitarian troops rolling in on Abrams tanks. It's just incredibly cold-blooded. Webster, any comments on that? Webster Tarpley, can you hear me?
Sorry, I missed the last part.
Well, no, I mean, they know once they get ground troops in there that then people will say, well, we got to in it to win it. We got to get it done.
Well, this is going to be a horrifying experience. I hope we don't have to see this. I really don't. So do something now, right? Let us work now while it is called the day, for the night cometh in which no man can work, and no woman either.
Anything else, Chance?
Yeah, I had one quick thing. It's good stuff, guys. I appreciate you answering my question and getting it out there for us, common folks. And I just wanted to say that I'm going to try to call back sometime in the week. I wanted to discuss with you that video, in regards to the video you showed the other day, Plandopolis, and some interesting stuff I found about Forum for the Future, the 3 groups that are heading up the campaign that produce and put these films out.
Yeah, Webster, that's these Malthusian films they show kids that actually show an incredible tyranny where you can't travel, you don't get meat, everything's surveilled, there's basically families don't exist. And they show it with straight faces to children. And now they're expanding into Maryland, where you live, adds environmental literacy in high schools. Everything is political correctness. Everything is flogging humanity, teaching you to hate humanity and that carbon is evil. And now Maryland schools, there'll be even less time. And California is moving to get rid of homework. So there can be more time for the kids to watch television and be programmed that way. What can you say about just the absolute Malthusian brainwashing?
Well, we have a tremendous social crisis, and we have a depraved elite. Some of them are monetarists, and some of them are Malthusians, and neither one of those will allow the survival of civilization as we've known it. So I've written up, my ideas on my website there, tarpley.net, so I commend that to your attention.
Tarpley, we're going to come back and take a final call or two for you. I, quite frankly, am exhausted. Now done almost 4 hours and was up late last night and did the whole thing at the Capitol. Now, we've got articles up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com that break down what happened there. And they've got a House version that's pretty bad, and they got a Senate version that actually enshrines TSA groping and molestation as a wondrous sacrament. that we almost indulge in. And so we've got reports on that at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But regardless, it's become a national issue thanks to you showing up yesterday. I think this is the biggest blow against the TSA, and we've got to get this story out to everybody. I want to thank the Drudge Report for linking to it. But obviously they understand this is tyranny. Cancer surges in body scanner operators. TSA launches cover-up. This is a big, big, big deal. That because this has been in the Boston airport where this center's in and around for close to 8 years, or I don't know, late 2002. Do the math. I guess more than 8 years. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, 8 years. And so they've been covering all this up. That's big news on that front. Webster, I'm going to take a final call for you, but do you have any comments on that?
Well, do you remember the implementation of the body scanners was the Muttalab case, right? The Christmas Day underwear bomber. That was the thing that pushed the whole system into the body scanners. And you remember the eager lobbying of Michael Chertoff, the former head of Homeland Security, who was out there as a paid lobbyist, but doing commentaries on all the television networks. And of course, we didn't need body scanners, did we? We needed a mole detector at the FBI and the CIA to find out which federal agency was the one that said, no, Muttalab has got to keep that visa. We've got eyes on him. He's going to lead us to the big fish. That was that interagency meeting with the State Department, at least claimed later, and this was, I guess, Undersecretary of State Kennedy, that the State Department wanted to pull his visa, which would have kept him off the plane, and some other federal agency said, no.
No, they said intelligence agency. Yeah, help get him on the plane. Jumping back to calls, Lily in France, you're on the air with Webster Tarpley. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for taking my call. I know you're really busy there manning headquarters. Yeah, I've noticed across the street over there in Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan that they had a meeting last weekend in Iran, President from Pakistan and Karzai, and they've all agreed to get together and not allow the Americans to set up their bases there until 2017. Has Webster heard anything about that at all? Or
yeah, Webster, what she's saying is in the news. So the whole world is lining up now against the U.S., England, and Europe. And as you know, Pakistan has run to China, and so is Saudi Arabia with Russia. Go ahead, Webster.
I'm afraid I'm not as well informed as I usually like to be, just because of the difficulty here. We had a couple of days when the internet was down completely because of the wonderful NATO contributions to democracy, playing havoc with the internet here, and even telephones difficult in some areas. But it's bounced back. So I would just say the general idea is that Karzai, whatever he is of Afghanistan, he's looking to China and Russia for his future, and Pakistan, of course, to China and perhaps also to some others, and Iran. I've been discussing Ahmadinejad of Iran, and it turns out that he is the industrial, military, scientific complex of Iran, the sort of modernizing side. Remember, he's a military guy, comes from the Revolutionary Guard, and against him you've got Rafsanjani, who is corruption personified, who supposedly has got tremendous amounts of money stashed away in the U.S. and Europe. So better Ahmadinejad than the mullahs. I guess that's the bottom line there.
Well, there you go again, being a Muslim extremist. You don't support Al-Qaeda and you don't support the mullahs, you're a bad guy. You would be pro-America, you got to support Al-Qaeda nowadays, Webster.
How about that?
Thank you, Lily. I'm sorry to Keith and others. We're just out of time. Webster, be safe over there, and we'll hopefully talk to you in the next few days as things develop, as you will stare out on the Mediterranean while the peace offerings are given to you by the Peace King Obama. You ought to be very thankful for his loving peace. Webster, thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Great job to everybody out at the Capitol yesterday. More folks are down there today. We don't really want this bill to pass, in my opinion. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.